Welcome to the Remodeling Reimagined podcast, the podcast that gives you an inside look at the remodeling world from award-winning designers. On this week's pod, Cindy Cipriani sat down with Kat and Lorraine from Lamp and Shade Works to discuss the latest lighting trends in the remodeling industry. Without further ado, here is your host, Cindy Cipriani.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us once again on Remodeling Reimagined. Today, we're going to light up your life by talking about lighting. And I have special guests here. I have Kat and Lorraine from Lamp and Shade Works. They are located on Delsea Drive in Sewell, New Jersey. And they have a fabulous location there. I love going in and seeing all of the displays. But the best part about them is these two women, because they have such in-depth knowledge of everything you need to know about lighting your house and how important it is. So we're going to jump right in. Hi, Lorraine. Hi, Kat.
Hey, good morning. Hello.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So let's just start out with, what is the latest designer trends for lighting?
We are seeing that people are going with a much more casual look in their home than they used to. We're seeing less formal rooms and big open floor plans where everybody in the family can be together and just more comfortable. Casual, laid back, feeling very at home. We deal with a lot of designers, builders, remodelers, and we're finding that this seems to be the trend now. Just very pretty, simplistic looking lighting. We are also seeing cool palettes, blues, greens, which any type of lighting would work beautifully with, whether it be chrome lighting, which would make it sparkle, or brushed nickel, which would subdue it a little bit, or bronze, which would bring a pop of contrast if you're working with lighter colors, or the newest trend, which is champagne. And champagne is a cross between silver and gold. So regardless what you might have in your home already, you can integrate this new color into it and it works beautifully.
I love that. Who couldn't use champagne in their house?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
To be there celebrating every day as you light up your home. Well, how do you determine the right amount of lighting? Because, you know, like I have a few rooms that are kind of dark, and I'm just wondering, like, I know it's so important. So how do you really determine that?
Well, we try to get as much information from you initially when you come in the door so that we can put a visual in our mind rather than just helter-skelter. So if you were to come in and say, I have a room that's 12 by 15 and I need to light it up, what am I going to do? The best thing to do are use formulas, which of course you can always alter a little bit. But if a room is 12 by 15, for instance, you want to add the length times the width. So you would have a 27-inch fixture. And that would be the minimum fixture that you would want to put in that room to give it. We had discussed previously layers of lighting. So you always want to start off with general lighting, overall lighting, then task lighting, which would be pendants, that kind of thing, where you're actually going to be working in an area, and then decorative lighting, which would be your lamps and accent lighting for pictures, that kind of thing. So you want to make sure that all of the areas of your room are being illuminated properly.
Yeah, the thing I love about you guys is that, you know, I can come in with a design and show you the dimensions of the room, show you where everything is in the room, and you can immediately recommend exactly the right type of lighting and also the right, placement of that lighting. So I actually did that this past week, and Kat helped me do that for my kitchen.
Absolutely.
Good.
It was very, very easy, very nice. And I got a lot of input from yourself because you're the homeowner, you live there. What was important to you to be illuminated, as well as the best and proper way to place recessed lighting as well as your decorative lighting.
Yeah, and the thing I like too is that, you guys know everything about the bulbs that go in the lighting fixtures, and, we can even order them right from you also. So it makes it like one-stop shop, so easy. So, like in the kitchen, what is the proper sizing and guidelines for hanging a light fixture, like over an island?
Okay. So an island and a table, dining, or kitchen basically have the same formulas that are used. And that is that you want the bottom of your fixture to be no lower than 30 inches from your countertop or your table. So here's your table, there's the bottom of your fixture. You want to have at least 30 inches. And that's, like I said, countertop and table. If you have a higher ceiling, you can always make it larger. Okay, you want to fill that space a little bit. So you're still going to keep the 30 inches, but now you have more room to work with above. We also want to make sure that on a table, again, using a formula, you would take the width of the table, not the length, but the width. So we're working with a table that's 40 inches wide by 72 inches long. Okay, nice rectangular table. The dimension that we're going to use first is the width. So you're going to have a minimum of half of the width of your table. Your table's 40 inches. You want your fixture to be at least 20 inches wide. If it's 50 inches, you want it to be at least 25 inches wide, with a maximum of 12 inches less than the width. So if you're looking at a 40-inch table in width, you've got a minimum of 20 and a maximum of 28. And that would be the size that would be appropriate for the table.
That's a great rule of thumb. Now, when you said 30 inches, like if you turn and I see some chandeliers there behind you, are you talking 30 inches to the bottom of
Yes,
those
whatever the
crystals?
lowest point is. Yes, whatever the lowest point is on the table and on the fixture. And you can always go a little bit higher, 4 or 5 inches. It's no problem to go higher, especially if there are tall people in the home. And you also want to take into consideration what's around you. So if someone has a TV, for instance, that they're going to be watching from the kitchen, you want to make sure that that fixture is not going to obstruct what they're going to be looking at.
That's right.
Good point.
Windows. You want to make sure that the windows, you can see them there. You're not obstructing it with a big, heavy fixture.
True. So, how about the types of lighting? We talk to people and they get a little bit confused between the differences between LED, halogen, incandescent. Like, what are the differences between those? Can you explain that?
Sure. Like I'll start off with the incandescent bulbs since most people are familiar with those. They're your standard A lamps, things that you had put in table lamps, and they're a warmer tone. They burn hot. They're not as efficient as far as light energy consumption is. They burn a lot of energy. So most people are used to that warm tone. Then you go into the category of halogen. A lot of people are familiar with halogen lights from either their under cabinet lighting, their recessed lighting. Halogen lights used to be in headlights. Now they're all LED, your car, just to give you an example there. They burn hot, more hot than an incandescent bulb, but they give you a whiter, brighter, crisper light. They last longer. The light bulbs themselves last longer than an incandescent bulb, but they still burn hot. But they give you a crisper, usually used in task lighting, halogen bulbs, and we're used to those in the last 10 to 15 years. And more recently, I'd say the last 5 years in the residential arena, we've gotten more palatable for the LED lighting because of the color temperatures that the bulbs have now, which are warmer and more suitable to the residential homes. Color temperatures, color rendering index, which gives you a more of a color index you're used to from the incandescent bulbs. So it makes your home look warmer and more inviting. Using an LED bulb, you're using less energy and you're burning almost no heat, 80% less heat giving off an LED bulb versus an incandescent bulb. So the three types of bulbs that we just described, most people are familiar with. It's how you use them. And today we're mostly using LED technology.
Right. So LED has changed the lighting world. And one thing to keep in mind is, like you said, the colors, because it's really important, especially in bathrooms. When you're putting on your makeup, you're not going to be inside all the time. You're going to be outside in the sunlight. You're going to be, in your car. You're going to be in, whatever your office is. So having those different types of lighting, you want to make sure, that when you walk out of that room, you're still going to look good. I used to have an aunt that had like the rosy cheeks, like she put the rouge right here, and she thought she looked great, and then she'd come out and she kind of looked a little bit like a clown, and we couldn't get it, like, why in the world is she wearing all this makeup? And then we went into her bathroom and realized that in her light in her bathroom, she looked really good. She had no idea when she went out into the real world what it looked like.
That works not only with people, faces, but furnishings,
Right.
furniture, flooring, countertops,
artwork.
artwork. It can either wash the room out completely or it can enhance it. So it's very, very important that you have the correct lighting.
So having a lighting plan is so important when you're working at remodeling your house. It's one of the really the main things to think about, and a lot of contractors don't. A lot of contractors just put in the minimum amount of lighting, and they're not really talking about the color of the light, the wattages of the light, all of the things that come into it. So having experts like you, you can really fill in all that information and help people make the right choices. And so how about, let's switch a little bit. I just wanted to mention another thing I learned from you was that a lot of these LED like chandeliers and things have a problem. And what is that problem?
The problem is that there is a computer module inside the fixture, which has a warranty of 5 years, for argument's sake. I'm just making something up. And once that module goes, it cannot be replaced. So the fixture at that point becomes disposable. There are few manufacturers that do give you the option of getting a replacement module, but you have to be careful that when you're purchasing something, you realize that the life may not be what you want it to be, as opposed to purchasing something where you can put an LED bulb into it and have 5-6 years worth of lighting more. But if something happens, all you have to do is replace the bulb. You do not have to throw the fixture away.
And those are LED integrated modules, right, is what you would see that in a description in a catalog or any kind of fixture description. And that would distinguish it between a lamp that would take an LED bulb versus an integrated module.
Where it's built into it.
It's built into the fixture.
Yeah. And some of these fixtures are very expensive. So I almost made that mistake because I was looking at something online, did not realize that that's how it was constructed. And, if I would have bought that, who knows how long I, would have had that beautiful fixture, and then I would have had to maybe replace it. So having an expert like you guys where you can come and show you what you're considering, and then letting us know what type of fixture that is, can really save a lot of money in the long run.
Right. And we appreciate the fact that you've got interest in it, because from your standpoint, you're able to show your clients that much more information where somebody else might not have taken the time to do that for them.
Sure.
So
right.
That's very important.
And then there's one other thing I know you guys do, which is home automation. So what's new in that world?
I just wanted to bring to your attention, and your attention especially, we are a Lutron distributor of Lutron products. And a lot of people in the industry are familiar with their dimmer switches. But what they also have in the last couple of years, especially, have developed the Caseta brand of Lutron, which is their smart wireless devices, which are the, basically they look like a home dimmer, just like any other dimmer. They're wired the same. They're smart technology. I bring it to your attention because anything in your home that could use a dimmer could use a smart dimmer, and also be an app downloaded, the Lutron app. You download it on your phone, and you can actually control your lighting via your phone You can have your lights come on at sunset, sunrise, etc. Each room can be controlled separately. And the one other item that you would need would be the Lutron bridge, which actually just gets plugged into your outlet, plugged into your modem, and you have a smart house, basically, very simply. And recessed lighting, tabletop lamps, chandeliers, your outdoor lighting, your landscape lighting, and all of those items can be done, and ceiling fans for that matter, can be used with a Caseta wireless device, which I wanted to invite you to discuss with your clients as well. The second item, yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's amazing. Just, you said there's a second item?
The second item we have, and I'd like to share with you, is that we are a Lutron shade distributor at this point. And I just, home automation, how quiet that shade goes up, how quiet that shade goes down. And the Lutron shades could be wired, which would be new construction. If you're doing a home renovation, if you have windows in that room, you can also pre-wire, but you can also use Lutron shades, anybody's home. They're battery powered shades that they offer, which are the Serena series. And that's what we have here behind us. You can get it. The roller shade is what I have as a sample here. And also very easy to change the batteries right here. Anybody can change the batteries in that very simply. But there's many reasons to go with Lutron shades, with the Caseta switches and devices to control those shades, and very, very easily installed.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Like, I have a two-story foyer, and with the big window at the top, and in the summertime, the sun is right there shining through and hitting my thermostat. And our bills were huge because the air conditioning was running all day long. And so I got a shade, and it's, all automated. It comes down at 11 o'clock in the morning. It goes back up at 7, 8 o'clock at night when we have the chandelier on. And it saved us so much in energy costs too. So that's great to know that you even have that. Well, I know this is a little bit longer than normal, but there's so much to learn about lighting, and it is exciting. So we want everyone to light up their world and really think about shining up every room in your house, like every surface. And come and see Kat and Lorraine at Lamp and Shade Works in Sewell, New Jersey. They also have a fantastic website that you can go on, and they can help you find any fixture and answer any of your questions. So thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thank you.
We want to invite all of you back to listen to our next vlog on Remodeling Reimagined. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Cindy.
Take care.
Once again, thanks for tuning in, everyone. And if you're looking to start a remodeling project, you can learn more about our design process at Cipriani Remodeling Solutions.com. And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.